What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Speak Up Sports Podcast with Cass, Christian, Shad. What's going on, fellas?
What's good, y'all?
What's good? What's good?
It's a lot that's good. It's a lot that's pretty interesting this week. We're a couple weeks out for the NBA, from the NFL draft. Obviously, we are on the final week of the NBA season with the play-in coming in a few days, few days, really here. But the biggest news again, we come back with another coaching fire, which is kind of interesting given that it is the last week of the season and where that team is right now. But Mike Malone has officially been fired, and Calvin Booth for that matter, as the GM from the Denver Nuggets. Surprising move, obviously a move that nobody, maybe at the end of the season it might have been a different conversation, but not a move that nobody expected, yesterday, basically. So, when you guys heard the news, I'm sure you were surprised, but what was your first thoughts? And how do you feel about it, now that we're, almost 24 hours removed?
Blow it up, goddamn, blow it up, cause that's the sign you sending to me. I mean, it's not like you're a play-in team. You're it's all bunched up together in that pack, and you are a champion, a previous champion not too long ago. Was that 2 years ago, 3 years ago? So you still got your main core there, and I think of it as NFL terms. Like, you would never do that. You would never fire a coach right before the playoffs when you're like not the low seed in the playoffs. You're in the middle of the playoff pack. Like, you have every reason to believe you can make a run, and for you to get rid of your coach and your GM. I mean, we see the stories coming out, but hey, some stink. That's what I'm gonna say. That's what I got from this whole thing. Is like, you don't do that. Like, you're not a play-in team. You don't do that. Like, right before, like, you should have did it All-Star break. Maybe it would have made a little more sense. Maybe, but to do it a week before we about to kick the playoffs, I just don't know the direction. What you got to say, Cash?
To do
Squad,
that, to do that, and still try to sell the fans on, oh, we're trying to compete for a championship this year. Come on, dog. Like, come on, dog. And I like David Adelman too. Of course, you got bloodline, the history there. I get it. And you might
was a head coaching candidate as well as past offseason.
Exactly. I know the Trailblazers were linked to him if they were to move on from Chauncey, but they kind of got their shit right a little bit towards the end of this season. But like, you don't make that kind of move and then try to sell the fans on that. Like, I just not Mike Malone. This is a coach that's been here for a decade, the winningest coach that you had just had a little celebration for. You just gave him a jersey literally like 3 months ago for winning the most games in Nuggets history as a head coach, and you turn around and don't even give him the opportunity to finish out the season. And I do think that it did happen because he didn't want Mike Malone to go on a run, get to the Western Conference Finals, get to the finals, and then be like, oh well, fuck, I got to keep him at this point. I think that's 100% why he chose to do it now instead of at the end of the season, because it is a possibility. You got Jokic, and if Jamal gets back right, it's a possibility they could make a run. And at that point, you're kind of at the mercy, because then you start hearing stuff about what would have happened in 2023 if they didn't make that run then, and he might have been going in. So it's a nasty situation. Of course, like, people around the Nuggets been talking about the dispute between Mike Malone and Calvin Booth for a couple of years now. I started diving into it obviously this past summer once Russ got there, and a lot of people that cover the team talked about it when they were building this team for this season, how they were on different pages about the youth that Calvin Booth were bringing in, and then Mike Malone's propensity to play the veterans mostly anyway. So I get it. They were at odds. You had to make a change, but I just think it's kind of nasty to do a coach that, again, is the winningest coach in your history. To not even let it 3 games before the end of the season is crazy. Like, he's gonna land on his feet. We all know that. Like, he's a great coach, definitely one of the best coaches in the league. But it is wild. It is wild for sure. Shai, what were you thinking when it came through?
I had a lot of thoughts, and it is, number one, we say that it was something that is a bit of a surprise, but Ben Albright I think he does a show for KOA Colorado. They had been talking about it, I guess maybe the day or two before. So he's pretty plugged in, at least definitely in Colorado. It was in the works, it was in the works. And so in terms of the selling to, fans, it was, I get it. It's tough because it's also like, if you also feel like if you remove some negatives, can a positive happen? And we've seen, and obviously further, not as close it has been to the playoffs. It's the week before, so that makes it a little different. But we have seen that people like remove negatives, like the Lakers a couple years ago. Obviously, they removed some players that traded some players off, made some changes to their team, ended up getting to the Western Conference Finals. The Cavs a few years ago, maybe that's a LeBron thing, but still, that's just what's coming to my mind off the top. But it is all of it's interesting because obviously we talked about it in our group chat, but the Russ comments from a couple weeks ago, after at that point in time, I think everybody thought, oh, it's Russ. He gave up. He had a couple of bad moments in the past couple games. He's just being immature, or the perception of how people have of Russ, or whatever the case may be. Now those comments, look a little different. Like maybe it was him still being upset about whatever happened, but it was also like, I'm also a veteran that's been around the game. Regardless of how y'all feel about me, like I see some shit's not right.
Yeah.
So that looks a little different. All the times that Jokic is on the sidelines, like visibly upset. And I mean, I know a lot of people have said that Jokic is not, they, once again, when we're talking about perceptions, he doesn't care. Jokic has been very, very vocal about pretty much how, I understand, Cass, you're a fan, and we at the beginning of the season, I was like, I don't think there's any shot that the Nuggets were going to make a run. Jokic, I don't think thought that the Nuggets had a shot at making a run. I mean, he's been very vocal all year. The team was ass, pretty much. Like he's pretty much said,
you're right.
Basically as much as possible. Like this team is ass. Like the only reason we're good is because of me, pretty much. Like without saying.
When everybody has like potential of the team, you're just like, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Yeah, he's literally been saying that all season.
and that's kind of like, that also looks a lot different. And, a lot of people have been saying Jokic is not the type of guy that, the speculation has been, I don't know if Jokic had a hand in it, blah, blah, blah. How does that look different for some other players? But, considering that Jokic is the best player in the league, oh, he didn't have a hand in it. He didn't know. He found out right when everybody else found out. Okay, sure. But, you also have to start considering, if you do look back at all of the comments that he's made, how much influence that he did have on that. But, it's just a weird situation. Obviously, the Grizzlies fired their head coach a couple weeks ago as well. So, I mean, it's like people are, obviously with the Luka trade as well, it's like these ownerships and billionaires are jumping at making decisions, even though it could possibly be the right decision. It just, the timing of it is off. But my final thought on it is, Darvin Ham got to be the worst coach ever. we say Mike Malone is a great coach, and I'm not saying that he's not. Obviously, he's a championship winning coach. Obviously, the Nuggets have been great. Had the Nuggets been great because Jokic? We have to really start thinking about that, because the way they lost last year was bad, very bad.
It was very bad.
The Lakers series, they didn't look good. They really should not have won that series. We all watched it. We all saw it. They came back. They made a bunch of great
Jamal,
shots.
Man. Jamal and Jokic literally.
They weren't they weren't just outplaying the Lakers. Let me not say they should have won the series. They weren't just out there outplaying the Lakers. They weren't there. Maybe you could say they were getting out coached, because as soon as Darvin Ham said, we got them figured out, all of a sudden it ends up, they couldn't beat them. And then as soon as Darvin Ham's removed, it seems like the Nuggets can't figure the Lakers out for anything. But, it starts to, all of that is like things that I'm like contemplating, like what is Mike Malone really as good as we think he is? Because, we could also say, even though they have lost a lot of players and that is a factor, they have also kind of underachieved in terms of how good Jokic has been, not just over the past couple years, but even back, the bubble season, I know a lot of people, try to act like that really wasn't reality. The Nuggets were a damn good team that season as well and could have won it. If they were to beat the Lakers, they would have won the championship against the Heat as well. I mean, they came back against the Clippers, who everybody thought was this championship team. Turns out they weren't. So it's just weird. It's just weird. And even the athletic stuff that came out, they mentioned some stuff about playing the young guys ahead of Russ. They mentioned some stuff about the defense and how Jokic felt about that.
I don't know. I don't know
who leaked it.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Who leaked it? Because I mean, it's not like these young. I'm not saying we say like you. I have my opinions on Russ have been there, but it's not like these young guys is just.
Like they're just
it's
ballers.
Not like I understand Russ has made some mistakes, but he's still been playing well, relatively.
Yeah.
Especially better than what people probably expect. So the scapegoat, maybe he is, but
it is, and I feel bad. At this point, I really don't even feel bad. It's expected.
It's hard to feel bad, but
it is hard to feel bad because it's just like it's adding more fuel to that fire about where Russ goes. Kind of just chaos ensues, and it's disappointing, of course, for me. And I don't know, like you said before we got on, Shy, I wish I was a fly on the wall to a lot of these locker rooms and stuff, just to see exactly what's going down for real. It's a tough look. It's a bad look for Russell Westbrook, though. Let's be honest, though. Like, I don't know how if it plays that much into this particular situation, but you can't really argue too much against it because it's just like, well, I mean, shit. Like, I mean, this shit is happening. That's a bad look for your coach to be fired 3 games before the playoff starts. And for you, like you said, Shad, to come out and have their interview. And then a lot of people are pointing to that Timberwolves game, that little meltdown by Russ, kind of being the turning point. Obviously, it's the start of this losing streak that they're on. And now they fuck around, lose 2 games. They're in the play-in. That's kind of, it's a really bad look for Russ right now. But, I mean, we'll kind of see how the rest of the season unfolds. I mean, because they still will make the playoffs, I think. And it's still Jokic, but it's nasty, man. I get Booth being gone. Of course, we all question the Nuggets' decisions over the past couple of off seasons about who they chose to let go. And you were in that position where, you're paying. You chose to pay Michael Porter Jr. after the championship. Which, okay, cool, you got a championship out of it. You paid your core. But then you have to, for how you are supposed to operate after that is keep the players that you have in your roster because you won't be able to bring in new players. So the fact that you let 3 rotation players go, big rotation players go from that championship season 2 seasons ago and not bring anybody back and just trust your young guys, it's very questionable decision making by Calvin Booth. So I'm not surprised that he got fired, but I thought they would at least let Malone play it out. But like I said, I already know why they didn't. So
also, I do get them like Bruce Brown. I kind of get, KCP. In my opinion, was the one that was a little bit more egregious, just because how KCP not only with the Nuggets but has kind of shown to be like a consistently good a plus starter for championship level team.
Yeah.
So that one was a little weird. The Bruce Brown one, like
Bruce kind of got overpaid a little bit too.
Didn't he come mid-season too? If I remember correctly, they picked him up like mid-season, and it was kind of I mean, he had his moments. He had his moments with the Nets as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, no disrespect, like it's not like folks are clamoring for Bruce Brown right now.
No, he just got traded again or whatever. Like,
what I'm saying, exactly. So, but. They've got some. I mean, they got to make some moves. They got to make some moves. They got to figure it out.
What moves they're to make? There aren't any really. You're not getting much back for Jamal. Let's be honest about it. You're not, even if you choose to go that route, which they probably won't. You got to keep Jamal at this rate, I think. So you're looking at just Michael Porter Jr. this offseason being that chip that you dangling. There's report from ownership. Reports that ownership were against trading him this past year. I'm not true that is or whatever, but that's the only piece you really got. You're not trading Aaron Gordon. You're not trading. I don't know if you want to get into what if Jokic come out and demand a trade, then hey, I mean, it is what it is. But I don't think he'll do that. I don't know, but he'll have a lot of say in the next head coach and stuff. So maybe that will factor in. But we seen that go the opposite way as well. I mean, this shit mirrors, and I seen people bring this up too. It does mirror the path that the Milwaukee Bucks took after their championship. It literally looks exactly the same. You really look at it, and now they're in a position where okay, you're looking for a new head coach after firing one in season, just like what happened with Giannis. And these are the two best players in the league. Is kind of crazy that it came down to this for both of these teams. But we'll see who they get in there.
I feel like it's people panicking. Like it's
Yeah.
just panicking. Like
Yeah.
because you hear so much of the narrative, which is why once again, the NBA media is kind of in the gutters because the narratives are always, oh, this player's going to want out. XYZ player's going to want out. I said immediately right after, like, the Lakers. That's all we're going to hear about this offseason.
Of course.
Jokic to the Lakers. Jokic to the Lakers. That's all we're going to hear about this offseason. Moments later after I said that, it came out the Lakers had our favorites to land Jokic if he wants to be moved. It just shows how nasty it is. But, kind of the parallels of the Bucks and the Nuggets, it's also the fact that Middleton and Murray are supposed to be kind of we're supposed to be the second guys to kind of keep going, but they keep getting injured.
Exactly.
So
exactly,
they keep getting injured. So that's also what's causing the moves because we have to if he can't, that was the killer. Obviously, the Murray Jokic pick and roll, pick and pop. That's been their like bread and butter and been what killing in the playoffs. If that don't work, Jokic is great, but we've seen. I mean, he just averaged 41 points, and they're on a 4 or 5 game lose streak. So it's tough. But Ja, that's what their plan should be.
Who? Ja?
Aaron Gordon.
I hope it's somebody. I hope it's somebody like that. I hope it's like look. And of course, like the KD talk is picked up because like clearly that's if you picture a trade, it would be Michael Porter Jr. and some pieces for KD. Sure, that looks good. I just don't know if that's the route you should take for Jokic, though. I mean, I get it. At the same time, Jokic is only 30. Like, he has a couple more years in there, a few more years at his rate and how he plays the game. But I would like them to go for a younger guard like that than go for KD, even though I wouldn't hate the KD shit. But you got to do something. You got to do something. You got to shake some shit up because this is the best player in the league, and that's kind of where Milwaukee was. Hopefully, it's not a panic move for an aging veteran that you get in there and it's like, well, fuck, if this don't go right, then we're fucked. And that's kind of where the Bucks are, kind of like, even though Dame has played well, it's like, how does it look around them? It's a tough situation. It is a good job though for a head coach. I will say that. I still think because you are coaching the best player in the world, but it is tough.
It's definitely tough. You got anybody in mind they should target, Chris?
Who, Denver in general?
Yes.
How do you fix this, Chris? How you fix this?
Keep Jokic.
Yeah, get rid of that. I was just about to say, hey, get rid of. I do like the Ja aspect, but it has, like you said, it has to be something. It has to be a younger.
I'm trying to think
you don't
of
want no
guards.
You don't want no aging veteran like KD. I mean,
you don't see that going
well. You see what's happening with the Suns right now. I mean, obviously they don't have a Jokic, but goddamn, the Suns are.
I mean, if you want to stick to the same team, Devin Booker. Devin Booker's got to go. The Suns are done. They have to trade all of them. I'm not saying that to be like. I'm not saying
they're
that.
done.
It's impossible for them to build a roster that way. They've tried it 3 times. Bradley Beal, we don't know what that situation is. Without trading, they're not going to get much for KD. Wherever he goes, everybody knows he's out. They're not getting some young star. They're probably not getting they're not getting a ransoms in first rounders. They might get 1, 2, maybe just out of respect, depending on what trade is going on. I mean, being dead ass though, depending on what else. And KD's also coming off an injury again. Depending on what else is what else you're offering. You might get 1 first-round pick. Bradley Beal is going for a bag of chips, whatever he accepts. Devin Booker has to go. Like, it has to go. And they're between a rock and a hard place. And their owner just, a few months ago would talk about 2016s would trade their teams for mine. But they got to be in a fire sale. Like, it's a lot of ugliness in the league right now. I mean, because the Grizzlies are still in a situation. I mean, it's not getting talked about enough because obviously Ja has kind of taken it upon himself to not be talking about the team and talk about him. But I don't know, man. With that being said, obviously the Wild Wild West is everything is really tight right now, even with the firing of Mike Malone. I mean, basically 3 through 8 is basically damn near tied up. So how do you guys think the last few slots are going to – because obviously 1 and 2 are locked in. How do you think the last slots are going to finish up?
It's tough, especially coming out the last night where you had some tough losses by the Lakers, which that game was neck and neck pretty much the whole fucking time until that debacle happened late in the game where after Luka got ejected. Yes.
So one player just eject your whole team to a 60-point loss? Oh, all right, keep going. Go ahead.
That's what happened, though. That is what happened in that game, though.
That means they're not a good team, but go ahead.
That's fair.
That's not what that means.
Yes, it do. Like, there's no way you telling me that
they undisciplined.
Okay. Hold on. We also got to talk about the sequence that happened. So yes, it's momentum changes, momentum shifts, and that's what happened. It was a game
my boy Jalen Hurts said momentum ain't real, but I'm gonna go ahead.
Well, Jalen Hurts is an idiot.
Definitely will.
Anyway, the situation, obviously, the Luka stuff happens. They were all hyped up. He gets ejected. Then what was he with Vanderbilt? Yeah, it was Vanderbilt ends up blocking a shot to Alex Caruso, gets teched up right away again. Then what's his name? Austin Reeves goes down, clearly gets fouled, and they end up calling the foul late. It was just all it just all got chaos and it was ugly. So to say that means they're trash, like they were gonna win that game. They just blew them out by 30 points. And
bro, you go from you telling me one sequence changed you up 1 to you down 16?
We see that all the time.
And them all the motherfuckers undisciplined.
They were at home. They were at home in a situation. It's also, I mean, if you want to make that point, if you're going to say that and stick to that point, you also have to acknowledge the fact that the Thunder also started talking shit and doing all that extra shit after. They were Rucker holed up before.
That's I ain't objecting from that either.
Also, I want to make very clear, y'all was laughing at my Lakers.
Bro, you said sweep. That is insane. I don't give a fuck what you talking about. Sweep is insane.
If you watch the last two games, the sweep is very much
very much insane. I don't care what you talking about. A sweep of the number 1 seed is insane. You can say what Shannon say. Lakers in 5. At least he got some kind. A sweep.
30-point blowout. Bro. They walk them down after OKC had 80 points in the first half. The best that they could possibly play. Shea drops 40 points, and they were struggling. Okay.
You can say they win. I give you that, but a sweep is insane. Nah.
Yeah, a sweep is wild. This is a number that. But anyway.
Okay.
But what makes it even tougher, why I brought that up, is because you got the Lakers losing games like that, and then they still have another tough game coming up. I think who they playing, the Rockets, whoever they're playing. Then you got the Timberwolves folding like they folded last night against the Bucks, and it's looking like, and they're supposed to bring up the kind of the rear and be that kind of 7-8 seed, or that team doesn't look good at all. So it's hard to predict how this last week is going to go, even if there is 3 games left each, man. If I had to guess today, it would be the Rockets stick where they are, Lakers stick where they are at 3 seed.
The Rockets have clinched.
Are they officially clinched?
Yeah.
Because Lakers lost. So Lakers stick where they are at 3 seed. I think the 4-5 matchup would probably end up being, I would hate it. Nah. I think the 4-5 matchup will probably end up being Denver and the Warriors. And then let's see, Timberwolves, man. I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know about them, man. This is tough. I would say because Memphis got a propensity to lose out too. So I think 4-5 is Denver Warriors, and then Clippers go down to 6, and then you got 7-8 being Memphis and Minnesota. I think that's how it kind of finishes up. I don't think Dallas or Sacramento can. I think they'll finish, 9-10 how they are, but of course, I don't think. First of all, I don't even think that should be a thing where Sacramento is 7 games lower than Minnesota and still have a chance to take their spot in the playoffs. I think that's crazy. I get to play in. I get it, but there should be thresholds for that shit. Like you cannot be 7-8 games lower than me in the loss column or more than me in the loss column and have a chance to take my fucking spot in the playoffs because of one game. That is insane. That is, if you really look at it.
It's definitely. It goes back to the point of like the NBA having to do all these gimmicks.
Yeah.
Even though, in my opinion, the play-in has been pretty excellent for the most part since its inception. Same with the play-in tournament. I mean, it's been pretty good for the most part since its inception. But it goes back to that, like having to do all these gimmicks. We're gonna be bound to get some dumb shit because
and this is some dumb shit. If Sacramento makes the playoffs over Minnesota, this is some dumb shit. Like
eventually, we're gonna get a team. Like no disrespect to them, but the Washington Wizards is gonna get the play-in or something, and it's gonna be like like not the play-in, but the in-season tournament. And it's gonna be like, well,
yeah, we're not.
Why are we
serious.
doing this?
Not,
you know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's always gonna inevitably be. There's always gonna be some dumb shit that happens. So
yeah,
but
how you think it kind of shakes out in the West, Chris?
Obviously, like Shai said, OKC and Houston, they are already in their spots. I actually do have the Clippers flipping with LA. So Clippers 3, LA 4. I think Denver and Golden State where they at, and then I got Minnesota, Memphis flipping. So I got Minnesota 7, Memphis 8, and then San Antonio, Dallas obviously last. And I went ahead and said Minnesota and Memphis is gonna be that 7-8. They're gonna kick San Antonio. Sacramento and Dallas out, so they're gonna be the 7th, 8th seed.
Shout out to the Clippers, man. They've been balling this last half of the season.
They are I think we can stop saying the Lakers are the scariest team because I think it's a kind of like they're officially a contender. So we got to stop acting like they're like a
sneaky good team.
Yeah, sneaky good. Right. The Clippers are the scariest team, in my opinion. Like if Kawhi can stay healthy, if I could guarantee Kawhi healthy, it would be tough for me not to lean more towards the Clippers winning the West. I'm not gonna lie, because that's a very deep team all across the board. I mean, Zubac is a dog. He doesn't get enough love. And then Kawhi. I mean, when Kawhi is healthy and Kawhi is playing, you're getting like an automatic 30 on 50 and 40. Like I always say this, and I say it more tongue in cheek, but he's a lot of what people think Kawhi is. I mean, not Kawhi, but KD is. Like he's a lot of the killer dog that everybody think. Like KD's obviously a great scorer, and I'm not knocking KD or saying KD is worse than Kawhi or nothing like that. But when we get in the playoffs, you go back and look, it be 45.
It's different. It's different when Kawhi is out there for real. Like people play different. The other teams start playing. They treat him literally like the boogeyman. It is pretty surreal.
We saw when they matched up, but before he got hurt
against the Suns,
Clippers Suns. I mean,
they didn't want nothing to do with that man. Like that was like they were like eyes wide open, like whoa shit. Like, we don't know what you're gonna do. That's the thing though, man. I hope he can fucking stay.
Hell, take it back to when they played when he was in San Antonio and played Golden State.
Golden State.
Beating
you don't want to see that, man.
It's too far back, but in my head, I was thinking the same thing. So
yeah,
but I mean, Kawhi. I mean, I love Kawhi. I love watching Kawhi play. I hate that the loudest voice in the sports media is always like
he's the worst superstar to have for your team.
I think that's so like that's so
that team is making a lot of money still. Let's be real.
And for him, and for all the things that not to make this a Kawhi thing, but for all the things that people say about Kawhi and he's milking his injuries, blah, blah, blah. Like for him to continuously come back and be as great as he is, it maybe even getting better, as bad as like some of those injuries have been. I mean, I think it's a testament. And it also like shows you like he knows his body. He's like, look, I can't you won't get this out of me if I come back 2 months or earlier, So I just think that's a little disrespectful. I actually kind of think the West is going to stick exactly how it is right now, which is Lakers at 3. Well, the final remaining spots: Lakers at 3, Clippers at 4, Nuggets at 5, Warriors at 6, and then I do think that the Grizzlies. The only thing is, I think the Grizzlies will flip with the Timberwolves. The main reason I think that, obviously, once again, we talked about it last week. I said a lot of the things that the job thing I don't think are that big of a deal. The grenade thing yesterday.
That shit is
Shit was funny.
That shit was fire. Fuck all that shit.
It was like, I'm not hating it, but at the same time, like, it's just like, you're bound to do something dumb, in my opinion. I feel like they're like, we got a couple games left. That playing with the spotlight. Could some dumb shit, immaturity shit happen? I feel like that's why they might. And then in terms of like what you were saying, Chris, when we get into the plans, that's also a thing that's stuck in my head because the Kings are, Levine get hot, and there's very few players for real that get hot like Levine. When Levine get hot, that nigga
dropping 40.
He look like a
So, and right now he's on a bit of a heater, and then DeMar DeRozan always can get buckets. So
yeah,
that's a fast that team is fast paced. I mean, they've got veterans. An immature team like both the Timberwolves and the Grizzlies.
It's it's definitely possible. It's definitely possible they come in and take that shit. I just don't like it. that is it's tough. I like your prediction though about how it's staying where it is. Only reason I kind of didn't have it like that is because the Clippers do play the Rockets and the Warriors in the next few games, and I had the Warriors winning that matchup. Whoever pretty much wins that matchup, it would probably end up being that 4 seed anyway. So I think it kind of ends up like that. But yeah, I mean, it'll definitely be fun to see how this shakes out.
So in terms of the round one, so are y'all sticking? So let's do the official play-in predictions. I guess I'm not switching on any in the East. East,
yeah,
Magic, Hawks. I don't think either of them are losing. I think both of them stay at 7 and 8. So what do y'all think about that?
In the East, I just got a sneaky feeling. The Hawks are going to do some dumb shit. Fuck around and lose twice and be out that shit to a team like Chicago. I'm not look. And we talked about it. I think we glossed over it. I think last week or whatever. But Josh Giddey has been playing very well. Chicago's been playing very well. It's the reason why they're only one game back right now.
Did the Thunder make a mistake?
Yeah. So I think it's possible Chicago gets in. That'll be my prediction over it.
And Kobe White too. Let's not.
Kobe White's been balling.
And Kobe White's been balling. So let's show him some love too.
I think it's possible Chicago might slip in there and get that 8 spot in the East. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I do think Atlanta might slip up to probably Chicago just because they've been on a heater. I did circle Miami only because somehow they sneak in every time. They be in the play and they be 9th and 10th and somehow get to 7. The 8th.
Yeah.
They just sneak in.
Well,
so
shit, they be like the 7-8, lose the first game.
Yeah, you're right. They lose the first game and then somehow win the second one, and then they'll
be losing the first game. They be losing the second game and then walk them down. They'd be like, bro, what's going on? Like,
so I had them circled, but no, I think it does stick with Orlando and Atlanta in the 7th, 8th, but I wouldn't put it past either Chicago or Miami sneaking in on the AFC.
Personally, selfishly, I very much hope that the Hawks do not lose. So I hope that it sticks exactly where it is because Game 3 and Game 4, we'll see Rashad. 100%.
No, that'd be nice. Hey,
first playoff series.
That is money. Yes. Hey, the last time I went to a Hawks game, it was actually the Cavs Hawks series.
Yeah,
that's the last time I was there. It wasn't a good sight. It was probably for Cavs fans for sure. But boy, they were mad, Chris. They were Hawks fans were mad. They were like, Kyrie, man, you can't do shit with him. So I can't. Or even without Kyrie, they couldn't do shit with him.
Selfishly, that's exactly what I hope happens. But so going back to the West, I think we all have Memphis in the Timberwolves basically being there. So how do y'all think it's gonna ultimately shake out?
I was gonna say I got the Clippers. I mean not Clippers. OKC beating Memphis. Houston beating Minnesota. I got the Clippers beating Golden State after what I just saw the other day. They look like you said, Shy. They a sneaky team, and
No, just the plan, just the plan.
my bad.
Slow down,
Yeah,
slow
Don't
down.
unveil it too much.
I do got Minnesota and Memphis. Clearly, I got them winning. I think Minnesota will beat Memphis in that
To get
first game,
7.
so they get the 7. Then Memphis will end up probably playing Sac, and they'll sneak it out of there.
Dip on your chip.
My bad.
Yeah, slow down. I want to say Minnesota will win that matchup, man, but I have no idea. And I mean, honestly, that could be a great game to watch. If
it's gonna be a fun one.
It should be a great game.
Watching John Ant go at it.
That's exactly why I think they're them two niggas. It's gonna trigger some dumb shit. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, we'll see how that fucking goes, bro. That shit it could get crazy, but I'm gonna go with the same thing with Chris said. I think Minnesota can beat Memphis in that 7-8 matchup. And I think Memphis will turn around and beat Sac enough to keep that 8 spot.
Yeah, so like I said, I think that they're gonna flip in terms of at the beginning of the plan. So the 7 will be Grizzlies, the 7 will be the Timberwolves, 8 will be Grizzlies. So I will also stick with the Grizzlies. God damn it, the Timberwolves being the 7th seed.
Yeah.
And then I'm actually going to go with the Kings. I'm going to go with the Kings.
Okay.
I'm not trying to hate, but bruh, like it's just the stupid shit. It's the stupid shit. And I just can't. Like let's just use our heads for a second. And I just I just feel like I feel like that the dam is about to break for that organization in terms of now they feel like their changes need to be.
It fucking should, because you fire a coach and they was what, the 3 seed at the time?
4 seed.
4 seed,
and you getting kicked all the way to play in, and now you out. Like, yeah.
I mean,
it's tough, and I mean, obviously, it's not like it's the East where there's a big discrepancy, and obviously the team, obviously between the Kings, but the teams are close, but still, it's just the fall from grace at how everybody was viewing the Grizzlies a couple years ago. Because even at the beginning of the season, like I was big on the Grizzlies. I was like, we're not giving them enough respect because of how good they've been, how good they were, even when Ja was out. And then, they were really good to start the season. We're pretty good. I mean, they're really a good team. They're a really good team. They're almost a 50-win team. It's just
I'll throw this caveat in there though. If Denver makes it to the play-in, I think it's a high possibility they get kicked out of that shit. I think they will. I think they could. I think they will fuck around and lose. And especially we don't know about Jamal's health. It seems serious. Yeah. But especially if he's not back, man. Look, I'm telling you. Yeah, all right.
I see. On that one, I'm gonna give both Jokic, and on this one, I will actually give Russ the grace because I think the time is ticking on Russ in terms of what happens next year. So I do think that we will at least get some. He knows how people are looking at him, especially now. Especially over the past couple of weeks and how things went with those losses. So if they were to get in the plan, I would be like that would be the type of game that I'd be like, both Jokic and Russ are going to have that triple-double to get big triple-double game where we're like, okay, cool.
I would not be surprised though if they get kicked out that.
I wouldn't be surprised because they be doing dumb shit too. I mean, the way they lost basically every game,
all four games been stupid as shit. Like, to be honest, like they should have. Yeah,
That's the thing that'd be so frustrating. And also, we didn't start off the show with it, but shout out to Florida Gators. Y'all won in a dumbass way too.
Not being able to get a shot off, nasty.
Not getting a shot off at the 20 seconds. Like you had 20 seconds left.
20 seconds, man.
That just shows like the difference. Like it shows the difference between that's what kills me, when people talk about the ratings and stuff like that, because people get so gung ho over college basketball, which is a close game. It wasn't a great finish, but if you wanted to say it was a great finish, you got a great finish because it was a close game, whatever came down to a last minute, last couple seconds shot.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the bricks hit like Dunkirk, and it is But Bricks is hard as fuck.
People put March Madness. People put the college basketball playoffs in the when they rank them and shit, or they put that above NBA playoffs. They put it above
NFL
playoffs.
It's so much. That's because it's so much like influx, like anything.
Because it's one and done. Yeah, but
ain't no one seed about to lose to AC for the most part. I mean, you'd have
the reality of it is more so is that niggas like it because they can put in brackets and bet money on it, and then after the first week, everybody stops really caring about it to the national championship or the Final Four national championship. But aside from the people that are fans of those teams or maybe fan of a particular player, but there's a lot of buzz at the beginning of March that very much dwindles. Like ain't nobody really been talking about it, even though we had all the one seeds in the Final Four. But yeah, shout out to the Florida Gators.
Yeah, for sure. And shout out UConn. Paige.
Shout out UConn. Shout out UConn. Shout out Paige. Yeah, shout out Paige, man. Shout out Gino Oriolo.
That's the real one. That's the real one you're talking about right there.
Ass out there, man.
Now, the women's college game now. That shit fun.
I wish we had Juju. That's all I was thinking. Like
the bricks do be sounding like Dunkirk there too,
for sure.
But hey, the Florida game. I mean, the second half started off. They had like 10 fouls in like the first 6 minutes of the game. I'm like, golly,
yeah,
it's an ugly game. But switching gears to the NFL. Obviously, we're another week closer to the NFL draft. And, mock drafts are flying off. We're starting to get people talking about, top 30 visits and stuff like that. And, some top 30 visits are getting a lot of buzz, like some top 30, for whatever reason. There's obviously a lot of stuff that's come out. The Beast by Dane Brugler, who's one of the top, draft analysts, dropped today. So check that out on The Athletic. If you, have some, want to get some insights on some of the players, there's a lot of good write-ups, including getting into some of the backgrounds of the players and stuff like that. That's pretty cool. But, today we're going to do a top 10 mock on how we think things are going to go for the top 10. It's going to be interesting. It feels like for the first time in a little minute, none of our teams will, Chris, fuck out of here. Yeah. But our teams are not in the top 10.
That's why I was thinking shot the whole time. I was like, damn, this is different for me. The last 5 years I've been up here. So it's like, I'm like, damn, I'm out of the top 10.
But, I do think it's going to be interesting. There's there's been a lot of stuff. It's not that good of a draft, blah, blah, blah. We'll see how, once the season comes and everybody starts hyping some particular players that they swore wasn't that good. But which one of y'all want to kick us off, or how y'all think it's going to
go? I kick this motherfucker off. All right. Pick one. I got Cam Ward. I just think at this point, probably the consistent first pick. Pick two, I got Abdul Carter. I think just the pairing of him and Myles Garrett, that's gonna be insane. I think so. Three, now this is an interesting one because I see all the smoke and mirrors, all the bullshit happening. I still think they're gonna pick Sanders because in my mind, I just can't see them saying, "Hey, this is our future, Russ and James." Unless you just know what this next draft class is gonna be like. I mean, maybe you have insight that it's gonna be a way better quarterback draft class. I just don't think they're gonna pass on Sanders. Honestly, the quarterback of the future. So I think they're gonna go ahead and get Sanders right there. And so next pick, Travis Hunter. I think he's gonna go right there.
So before you continue, Travis Hunter, what?
Oh yeah, what position?
Receiver. Okay. They need a dog and motherfucking receiver right now for the Patriots. Okay.
They got Diggs though.
Then
that's a dog. All right.
Hey. He might go.
I just think at this moment he's gonna obviously advocate for it, but when you got
they got Gonzalez, then they
got
Carlton Davis over there, yeah.
So
I like it too.
I mean, I don't have any. We'll see, how it shakes out. I think this is one where, I think if we and that's the thing about this draft compared to last year. Really, the last year, if you really look at it, the only thing that shook shit obviously was the Falcons pick. Everything else, was pretty much predict
for the most part.
Most part predict how that top 10 kind of shook out. So that's why.
And I was thinking about it while when you was talking about Chris, but I didn't want to interrupt you. Because people have been saying it. Didn't last year they say the class was a down class, or am I bugging? Just in general.
I mean, I feel like they say it pretty much every year.
They kept saying it was a down class. That I mean, outside of the receivers, they were like Caleb Williams and maybe Jaden Daniels and the first three receivers, or Brock Bowers. But like after that, it was. They
say it was a down class for defenders, and that kind of stood pat with the first defender going out off the board at 15. And that's the main thing that they kind of said, like, oh, this is not a good year for defenders, and it's not a huge
which
different age group outside the top 3.
Still interesting because I mean, there's a lot of defensive players from last year that made some noise, and two rookies led the championship Eagles. So shit, basically the group thing.
Yeah, the group thing. Yeah, for sure. You start warping your brain and be like, yeah, I guess it doesn't look good. But like,
it's too much time.
A lot of it is team fit as well. Just, I mean, if the player gets in the right situation, it's what it is. But no, I like your top 10, Chris. Ours, I mean, mine is similar. Let's see. At 1, Titans, I have Cam Ward as well. Seems like that's going to happen. Seems like that's one of the worst kept secrets. Not as much as Caleb was last year, but it's trending that way to look like that. 2, I had the Browns taking Travis Hunter. Of course, the talk has been what are they going to do between Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter? I think they take the versatility of Travis and actually use it. 3, I had the Giants taking Abdul Carter. And of course, that's become more popular now that, they made the moves that they made at quarterback. It's interesting because I feel like you might want to trade Kayvon Thibodeau if you make this move, or maybe you keep all 3 of them. But I don't know. We'll see how it works. But that's definitely a piece if you want to get some more capital, especially in this draft in particular. That's yeah. Oh, for the Browns, I mean, I haven't played receiver.
Yeah.
I haven't played receiver.
That position. But I want to say the Browns were like the first team to say that they initially that they thought of him as a receiver. If I remember correct, I could be wrong on that though.
I think so. I think that's what I heard too.
I haven't played receiver. I could be wrong though.
I saw somebody say, draft him as a receiver and treat this first year as kind of like a red shirt year for defense for him. Have him attend the meetings, have him, just be around the defense, but not fully immerse him into that unless there's an injury or some shit. Of course, anything can happen there. But I think he will end up playing both sides because why not? I mean, why not? Okay, so I had 3, the Giants taking Abdul Carter, 4 Patriots. I had them taking Will Campbell, have them going offensive line here. Like Shot is probably hasn't his mock draft. I know they would probably love to get Travis Hunter, or one of the top 2 prospects in the draft, but it didn't check out that way because I had Shador falling a little bit. Jaguars at 5, I had them also taking Mason Graham because I think you had him as well. I think they go trenches there. Their new GM, can't think of his name. The young guy though. Yeah.
No. That's the Gladstone. James
Gladstone. He talked about trenches. I don't think he's one to just sit there and just BS. I feel like he's definitely looking at trenches. I had him taking Mason Graham there. I think that's a good prospect to have on that defensive line. The Raiders, I had them taking Will Johnson. Of course, we saw the news last week that Monday actually, that they released Jack Jones. Definitely a need for them at cornerback. We'll see how they address it. They can go different routes with it. They could choose to get a player like Ted McMillan, because they need a receiver too on that team, and look for cornerback in the second round or something like that, and you probably find a starter there. But you can also say the same for receiver as well. So I think they choose to go Will Johnson with this one, the cornerback out of Michigan. Jets, I have them taking Armand Mimbo. Like you said, Chris, offensive line is definitely a need. You could look to address it later in the draft. I think they go ahead and get out of the way now though, and get one of the best just overall prospects, overall athletes at that position, and it's in this draft. He had a great combine. Panthers, I also had them taking Jalen Walker, Chris. I think that versatility is exactly what Ejiro Evero would like in his defense since they chose to keep him. I think that'd be a great fit, honestly, for that Panthers defense. You know, they got rid of Burns last year, and they kind of do need that kind of just dog over there that you can like move around and kind of chess piece, and he's definitely one. Saints, I had them taking Ted McMillan at 9. And I just think you need receiver help there. It was between him and Warren. I think they're both in play there, but they end up extending Juwan Johnson, so I think they kind of go receiver out here. We don't know. Taysom Hill is out. You know, he had a pretty bad injury towards the end of last season. We all know about Rashid Shaheed. Like he's hurt too. We'll see. I don't know how he's just your deep threat. I don't think you really want to ask him to do too much, and you never really know what Olave's health, especially after the season he has. So I think you definitely want to address that. Yeah. I mean, but Derek Carr, he'll get it a Tech though. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how that. Of course, they've been in the mix for Shador. I don't have them picking Shador here, but that's picking up steam lately, and we'll see how that kind of shakes out. But in that 10, I had the Bears taking Ashton Genty. It kind of shakes out where they end up taking one of the top running backs, and I think that's a good fit there. I think you want to get that alpha running back, that dog back there where you're able to take a lot off of Caleb's plate, because I think he needs a lot off his plate to really be effective. So that's my top 10.
Yeah, it hasn't been a lot of conversation in terms of how Caleb. And there's been a lot of and rightfully so, because you saw how good he was in college. But I feel like there's been a lot more optimism for Caleb than there was for Bryce Young, and obviously Caleb has a little bit of livelier arm, but Bryce Young is not he's a Heisman Trophy winner. He's not a slouch. He did more winning than in college. Obviously played at a better team as well, but then Caleb as well, and so I just feel like there was a lot of like down on Bryce coming in, but not too much question about Caleb recently. So I do find that a little interesting, but
yeah,
we shall see how it goes. But getting into, I'm surprised neither of you guys did a trade, honestly. But
trades get a little messy, and I was thinking about it, but at the same time, I look back to last year as well. And the only trade we had in the top 10 last year was that 10 spot. So I'm like, I don't even want to kind of predict it. So
yeah, so well, we had a trade pre-draft too.
Well, pre-draft,
yeah,
but like
draft,
draft, yeah.
But so yeah, Cam Ward going 1. I mean, it's foregone conclusion, and honestly, I think that it based on how it's sounding like the top 3 picks are the lock in terms of who's going to go. Maybe not in terms of their slots, but I also have Travis Hunter as a receiver going to the Cleveland Browns. I think there's been a lot of smoke in terms of quarterback and stuff like that. And, obviously there's a veteran quarterback that has seemingly pleaded to go there. I do not think he's going there. I definitely think that the quarterback that we heard about showing up at the draft, that was a bit of a surprise. He 100% is going because he's going to be a Cleveland Brown. But with that being said, number 3.
Well, okay, wait. As in they trade back into the first, or you think they just wait to the second?
Yeah, they're gonna trade back. Like he's 100% gonna be a Cleveland Brown. Like
okay.
I if I was a betting man, which I am, but if you guys want to put some bets in, I put a lot of money on Jalen Milroe to the Cleveland Browns. I would, unless somebody snags him. That's probably the reason that he was.
Okay.
But,
okay.
Number 3, I also have Abdul Carter. I like Chris mentioned, I also am a little hesitant on the Shador Sanders, and just not believing that they would not do it. But signing Russ and signing Jameis, and if and Tommy, if there's a team that would snipe the Cleveland Browns, I think that would be them. The Jalen Mills. So at 4, I got Will Campbell. Think them getting a stalwart. They probably think about receiver. They would love to have Travis Hunter, but getting a stalwart on the offensive line to kind of kickstart and be that hopefully left tackle anchor if they don't kick him inside for Drake May. I think that's right up Mike Vrabel's alley in terms of building through the trenches. 5, I'm with y'all as well on Mason Graham.
Okay.
I was with y'all on Mason Graham. Ashton Jeanty, I got going at 5 to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Number 6, I got Will Johnson also going there to be the cornerback for them. Obviously, they need a cornerback. One of the reasons that I think, I think Jeanty will be, like Chris mentioned, a popular spot. My biggest hesitation for putting Jeanty there is Chip Kelly came from Ohio State. It's 2 Ohio State running backs in the draft. I'd bet that one of them goes. He gonna take his guys, and they obviously ate last year with him, so I could see both of them are have been rumored to be like prime, day 2 running backs, go at the top of the draft or even sneak into the end of the first round. That kind of screams Raiders going for one of them. Number 7, I got Tyler Warren. I think that kind of following suit with what kind of how the, not necessarily, kind of building through the trenches. Obviously, there's a thought about Tyler Warren will be able to fit and be a plus as a blocker, as well as kind of putting him in doing different things. And I thought something was kind of interesting. I can't remember which show I was listening to. But they were talking about Tyler Warren and kind of like his utilization, and given the lack of weapons that the Jets have, I think they would be the kind of like the perfect team to kind of utilize him. Because if you go watch Tyler Warren, he does a lot of stuff. Screens. Obviously, a lot of people talked about his versatility in terms of wildcat and doing stuff like that. He wasn't just lining up out wide and routing you up. That wasn't his game. Mm-hmm. So they were finding ways to like get him the ball. So I think that the Jets will be a really good team for that. At 8, I also am with y'all on Jalen Walker. I actually believe that he is from North Carolina as well. So I mean, everybody's basically said that he's going to go top 10. If they can't get Abdul Carter, I do think if we were to get a trade up spot, this is one that I like a lot for the Bengals. Trey Henderson in their first for the Carolina Panthers to move back. I think that makes a lot of sense for both teams if they're not able to get something done by that Wednesday. I really think that the Bengals, that should be the deadline. I don't know if Trey Hendrickson is going to be the type of guy to I know he has requested a trade twice. Obviously, he played on that after requesting a trade last year and really didn't get the pay raise like he thought. He's already said that he didn't really get the money that he wanted. Yeah. So I really think if we're going to get a trade up spot, that would be it at 8. 9, there's a lot of ways we can go here.
It is.
But Shedeur Sanders to the New Orleans Saints, I just think Deion made his little, I don't know if you guys saw that clip, but he was like, at the pro day, he was like, we like these colors. He kept saying, we like these colors, and it's the black and gold. I think that was a little bit of a hint. Louis Riddick, who's really close to Deion Sanders, all of a sudden saying that Shedeur is not trying to go to the top 3.
They say if you get past top 3, then he has a destination. He's already going. Exactly. And that is not to the.
People have been saying, so the guy that said that he loved to play, his favorite team is the Cleveland Browns. He wore the New York Giants cleats. All of a sudden, he want to go top 10. He doesn't want to go top 3. I mean,
yeah.
I think that's where he ends up landing. In 10, I got Omarion Hampton. I think it's a lock that he goes in the top 11, top 12. I think he goes before Dallas. So I'm going
before Dallas,
Hampton.
or like Dallas would be like the latest.
He
doesn't get past Dallas.
He doesn't get to Dallas.
Okay.
So 10 and then 11 is the 49ers. So one of those two teams are going to take. Okay. So I'm rocking with Omarion Hampton, the running back, going to join Ben Johnson. Obviously, they drafted a first-round running backs a couple years ago with Jahmyr Gibbs. He obviously loves having the two-back system, or at least perception-wise, because, maybe that was a Dan Campbell thing, but perception-wise, it obviously seems that Ben Johnson likes to run his team like that. So I got Omarion Hampton rounding out the top 10. next
And
year.
if he goes there, I think Sanders will be starting very quickly. Very quickly.
But I mean, even if he doesn't, he doesn't necessarily have to start. They can bring him along, kind of let him learn the game. There's a lot of good veterans in there as well. I mean, he's been a guy that's been sitting there talking about, if you want, I'm not afraid to go to a situation and turn him around. Yeah. What's a worse perception wise? What's a worse situation than what the Saints have in terms of maybe not having the quarterback of the future, as well as being in cap hell? I could see Shador, and then obviously back in our day, the Michael Vick versus Aaron Brooks used to be a little bit of a thing for the Saints-Falcons rivalry. So that would be also if Michael Penix is able to become a good quarterback, if Shador is able to become a good quarterback, that also could be a good rivalry. And 3 black quarterbacks in the same division, that'd be pretty cool as well.
I like it.
So yeah.
It don't beat 4. You're right.
It don't.
But it's
actually technically it is 4. Yeah, because you got Dak, Jalen. Yeah.
No, we know it's 4. He just,
Dakota. Yeah. I didn't think about that. Dakota Rain.
Dakota Rain. Oh man.
But yeah, man, it's getting closer and closer. I'm really surprised that we still don't have we haven't had a trade happen yet. We still, they're still up in the air with the Aaron Rodgers stuff. I think people are hoping. I'm hoping that there's some conclusion to it tonight with the Pat McAfee event there. Obviously, there was some stuff. TJ Watt tried to be funny. I don't know what the fuck that's all about on Instagram.
Why are we doing this, man? Ew, no, they do that, man. But at the same time, that is what I've been asking for. So I can't say it too, because they got to make a move to get a quarterback. Like, you can't keep just. But I mean, they get Aaron Rodgers though. That kind of changes that, but.
I think I think they would take Shador if he falls. I think they would take Milroe if he fell to I don't even think they have a second round pick, actually. So maybe if they could try to trade back, but maybe that would be the other team outside of the Browns. But I am like 99.9% sure Jalen Milroe, why he's going to the draft is because he knows for a fact the Browns are going to take him in the first round.
It has to be something like that, because that is it's very random for him to accept that invite, not alone to be invited, but to accept it at that. And
if we want to revisit a bit of the Kirk Cousins situation, I know that the Atlanta are trying to play hardball or whatever, and there's been a lot of rumors that it could happen after the draft. They'll get a trade. Maybe they're playing hardball because their only option was the Cleveland Browns, and they don't have that option because they know they're going after him. And that's also like why Kirk Cousins is out there lobbying as hard as he is. Because what the fuck are you doing in Cleveland? And for whatever reason,
buying that shit was not football related. You're not going to sit like, bro. This man is not going to Cleveland in March.
He was trying to look at houses.
Like, let's be real.
Like,
come on, like, what are we doing? Like, what are we talking about here, bro? He was definitely looking around, scoping the scene for a potential spot for his family. Let's not be crazy. There's no reason for him to be in Cleveland. He's going to local establishments. We're not. Come on now.
If they aren't able to get Milroe, then obviously that comes back to the forefront.
Yeah.
But I'm very positive they're going after Milroe. I think that's all why people are confused, but that is. And at the beginning of the season, at the beginning of the cycle, Milroe was the QB3 that people thought could possibly climb. He's kind of fallen. There hasn't really been a whole lot of conversation about him just in general.
Yeah.
Part of me thinks that's also because people knew we're not taking him in the first round, so we know Cleveland I think Cleveland is very enamored with him. So that's just my perception. But
we'll see.
I got some Cleveland guys from. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
That's fair.
Before we wrap, we also got some news about another NFL player that has continued to be in the news. It seems like How do y'all feel about Tyreek Hill? Obviously, I don't want to get into what actually happened and stuff like that, but obviously there's been more speculation about the trades. He did have some stuff a couple weeks ago that we didn't really touch on, where he posted and he's like, trade me, haha. It was supposed to be tongue in cheek, whatever the fuck. But now all of a sudden there is a police presence as
2 days after tweeting out the peace sign. 2 days after.
So now I don't want to take anything lightly when it comes to a situation like that, but if you are trying to force your way out, something that went immediately, that it was nothing really. I don't know. I don't want to make light of the situation at all. So, do you think that the Dolphins should get rid of Tyreek Hill, and if so, where do you guys think that who should target?
I think they 100% should get rid of him. At this point, I just think you got to just cut the cord and live with it. And live with the cap hit and just move forward without him. I think it's too much of a distraction, especially for a team whose owner just put the head coach and GM on the hot seat, and Greer and Mike McDaniels. Like you can't afford to be playing around with Tyreek all season. If you're Chris Greer as well, the GM especially, you can't afford to be playing around with that man all season. Like forget that. Like to build your team, I think you still can get some assets for him. It won't be premium assets, of course. Not is that you want to get what you're looking for. Let's just be real. You won't, especially after all this. that it ain't going nothing but down that trade value. But I think you should definitely get rid of him. I just think it's too much. And just get him out of Miami. As far as landing spots, that's a tough one for me to answer, to be honest with you. Because a lot of potential landing spots going into the off season have already kind of been addressed by a few veterans that have been on the market that I kind of would have linked them to. Like we know Houston went after Curry. We know Seattle went after Cup. We know. So it's like I don't like the Commanders got Debo. So it's like, where the fuck do you go if you're Tyreek and you're really trying to win? And of course, the easy thing to say is back to Kansas City, of course, which is also always an option. I don't know what they would give up or why.
I'm not sure that it's an option. I think they got rid of him for a reason.
That's fair too. I'm having trouble with a landing spot. I want to see what y'all think.
So
I like that.
Now, I actually do like the Panthers a lot. I would still back to the same Bengals trade that I mentioned. I would do that as well with the Dolphins. The Dolphins could do is a trade up to get a offensive lineman. If Mimbo is there, somebody else, if Will Campbell falls, whomever the case may be, the tackle from Texas, drop down. It would be from 8 to 13, so 5 slots. You pick up Tyreek Hill. I get. What do you mean? I would. The Dolphins might have to give me another pick. I'm not. Hey, yeah. I mean, the Dolphins might have to add a little fourth to that third.
With how Tyreek been, you gotta add a little Tyreek tax on that for sure.
And you gotta add a little Tyreek tax. Tyreek is from the South, so he's from Georgia. So ain't no telling, what nonsense he could get into with the Carolinas to Georgia as well.
Right down the road, right down the highway.
I throw some tax in that third because I don't think I think the Bears have Carolina's second round pick this year. So, that's why I say the Carolinas in terms of I mean, they obviously could use a good player, but if everybody's saying there's no elite players and everybody from 5 to 40 are basically in the same tier, which is kind of how they're going about it.
Yeah.
Then why not move down a couple slots and then pick up a couple picks, build your roster? So, I don't know, maybe. But I think we're all in agreement they should trade. I mean, it's getting too noisy for. I understand that, Tyreek got a personality. Some of it, I think he is trying to be funny, but it's also like, bro,
same time.
It's just the same way I say, just read the room.
Yes.
Read the room. A lot of these guys, and once again, it would be great to be a fly on the wall for a lot of these conversations and stuff like that. But y'all are clearly listening. Y'all are clearly paying attention. So a lot of these guys are coming out playing victim and all the media's picking on me, but y'all are inviting it for whatever reason when you could just stop. You don't have to tweet nothing. You don't have to post nothing. You didn't have to have that interview and say what the hell you said. So I don't know. It's just get them out of there. But I think the 49ers, They've been a team that, I mean, that would make it a little. It would obviously it'll be a little tough, but I don't think his contract is that bad. And obviously, there's been speculations about them trading Brandon Ayuk. He did get his guaranteed money like a week or two ago, so that people were like, that pretty much nails or has it that he's going to be there. If Miami is willing to eat some money, why would go to that system, get him out of the conference? Would that be something they'd be interested in? Dallas is also a place I think would be, they need a receiver. So, and they've been talking about possibly getting one in the first round. But I do think the Dolphins are also a spot. I mentioned getting all linemen. Maybe they trade up and get Ted or Matthew Golden. I think Matthew Golden would be a prime candidate for them at 13 if they stay there.
I like that
regardless of what Tyreek does. So.
Yep. But
yeah, man, that gives us a wrap for another episode of the Speak Up Sports Podcast. We will catch y'all next week.